Hello crafty friends, this is the Papered Chef here. In today's Brother ScanNCut tips and tricks tutorial, you're going to learn how to cut out patterned paper. The patterned paper we'll be cutting out is called Penguin Playmates. Penguin Playmates is a free item you can start earning during our celebration special at Stampin' Up. I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator in the US. There's a link to my store. This month we have a sale on Designer Series paper from the annual catalog, and next month we have celebration. That means that for every $50 you spend from August 3rd till September 30th, you can earn items. And one of the items you can earn is this paper here called Penguin Playmates. I have it taped shut. I can't show you the inside of the celebration brochure right now. But rest assured, this is the cutest paper in there. I mean, not just my opinion, it just is. All right, so some of the tips and tricks that you're going to learn in this one, and this just kind of gives you a kind of a preview, is I want to show you how you can get something like this polar bear to cut out when there's like little to no contrast between the foreground and the background. And that is using my pencil trick. I'm also going to talk about smoothing. Smoothing is how you can make your edges either sort of rougher, like this one, or smoother as you cut them out. Okay, and there's a setting in your ScanNCut for that. I also want to talk about not adding an outline distance versus adding one. Now this is not adding one, but I don't personally like when you don't add one, but I wanted to show you this and just talk about it when I get to that in context. Okay, so let's take out the paper. I've literally cut it back to smithereens. And later, just if you're new to my channel, and if you like the ScanNCut, definitely subscribe to my channel. If you like Stampin' Up products and paper crafting ideas, paper pumpkin kits, and all kinds of ideas, go ahead and subscribe to my channel if you're new here. Now, what I like to do at the end of my videos is show you my projects. So I have about 13 projects I created using my bucket of crafty goodness and all the things I cut out with this Designer Series paper. So you're going to get to see those projects at the end, but we're not going to stop. We're going to jump right into the tutorial so that you can see the projects. Now, it doesn't matter. Now, even though I've cut out every single piece of this, every piece cut out well, okay? And I'm just showing you these on purpose. This is purposeful to show you like what good success rate I have. Look how you can just cut out things. Now, even though I had good success rate, I didn't want to cut it all apart because sometimes your paper makes good backgrounds. And you're going to see how I use some of this as background paper for my cards. So this is the Penguin Playmates. And I don't have like a whole pack to show you because normally I have a whole pack to show you. So I'm really just showing you scraps here. And when I get to a piece that we'll cut out, like here's a good one to cut out. I'll see if I have a whole one of these. If not, this is a good one to cut out because there's like little to no contrast between the foreground and the background. So we could take this piece and definitely do something with that, which is here. Okay, so we'll pull this one off to the side. Now, but the concepts I teach you are going to apply to other things. So to all the different papers, everything I teach you. Super cute. Oh my gosh, I love this paper. I mean a polar bear pulling a penguin on a sleigh with snowman. And a little fox with a scarf on. Does it get cuter? I don't think so. Hey, here's a whole piece of paper. I can't believe I left one whole piece of paper intact, but I know I cut some of this because I cut some from every piece. What's on the back of that one? Yep, more trees. I don't remember what I've shown you, what I haven't shown you, but maybe we'll jump into this piece of paper too. Super cute. I wanted to cut it all, but I'm having a paper share, and I wanted to make sure I had enough for like my sample paper share. I cut some of these little guys. Now, the only reason I haven't cut these yet is because I haven't traced them yet. They just weren't recognized. So, like I said, every time I teach you a concept, it'll be the same. What's on the back of that? You'll see how I use these on the back of cards and some tags. Okay, and then we have this super cute piece with the little rabbit. I used the little rabbit on a card. Super cute. Okay, and polka dots. So I think I've shown you all the paper now in the front and back of each. So we'll start with this piece. We're going to jump right into this tips and tricks tutorial. And I'm going to go ahead and push my paper like that. So what you need to do is get yourself a pencil. This is not a magic pencil. This is any number 2 pencil you have. If you don't get a pencil and you try to scan in this pattern paper, you're just going to be left with utter frustration. It's not going to recognize at all whether you use, I've done everything. So I've done all the work for you. You don't have to worry about the work. Just trust me, it doesn't even work with color recognition mode. I tried color recognition mode, which usually gives you, and I even tried the highest threshold possible. It doesn't matter that I scan this in color, the highest threshold possible. It will not recognize this polar bear unless you outline it with a pencil. Okay, it's not a big deal. Don't get flustered. You just outline it. And then you're going to erase it, not with the red mark. We're going to erase it later with this white eraser, photopolymer eraser. So, not a special pencil. It's just a number 2 pencil. Now, I did, and I kind of, we don't need to do them all. We can just do this one. But what happened is I didn't realize his little tufts of hair on the top were there. And so sometimes when I was outlining, right, you'll see some of my bears, I just kind of put a line across because I didn't really notice the tufts of hair. So if you want those tufts of hair, make sure you outline them. Whatever you outline in pencil is what's going to be scanned in. And it can't do a better job than that. There's not enough contrast. There has to be contrast between the foreground and the background for your things to be recognized. That's all there is to it. You can't get around it. It's a scan and cut. It needs something to scan. If there's nothing to scan, it can't cut. Okay, I mean, bottom line. I get asked all the time to help you with different papers. And sometimes I say, outline in pencil. And sometimes you say, that's too hard. And I say, well, then give it up and just cut it out with scissors if it's too hard to outline it in pencil. Because to me, this is so much better than cutting it out with scissors. It does so much better of a job than I could, I think, because it does a smooth job. And we can show you how to make it even more smooth. All right, so let's chop off. So just because when you have paper like this and you've done some work on the top of it, you want to chop all this off, because if you don't chop all this extra stuff off, it's going to start recognizing all these little shapes. It still will recognize this little tree in here, but you want to, just to save it some frustration, we're just gonna do that, right? We're just gonna recognize the top part. Get rid of this. Don't get rid of it, because you can punch shapes out of it. This thing is great for die cutting. You'll see how I die cut shapes out of this later. Circle shapes with stitching on them, and used them for tags. So save all these little scraps. Now maybe not this little piece, but definitely save these scraps. Now let's do something with the fox. The fox, if you don't do something with the fox and the penguin, you're not going to be able to get a full cut. So what happens if you don't use the pencil trick? Let me make sure I'm focused here. Make sure my camera's focused. If you don't enclose the tail, it's going to try to get in there, and it'll just get this calypso coral piece of the fox. It'll cut out this big blob and part of the head. And it won't cut out these white pieces. It'll cut out this white piece because it's enclosed, but it won't cut out this piece. You'll have a big piece of the head missing and a big piece of the tail missing. So go ahead and do that outline distance here. The outline with the pencil. Go ahead and do that. And by the way, I've been asked by so many people to please demonstrate how to cut out this paper. So that's why I'm doing this. Plus, I was doing it anyway. Okay, so you need 2 pencil marks, one there and one there. Don't bother putting pencil marks around the whole fox, because all you're going to have to do is create work for yourself. You're going to have to erase them. If you don't need them, don't create them, right? That would be a waste of time. Now go ahead and enclose just this little part of the penguin. So right here, just this little part. And that's it. You don't need any more than that, because now the penguin is 1, right? So the penguin is 1. And we'll go ahead and do, since I'll probably just select an area. So I'll go ahead and do one more fox for good measure. And maybe one more penguin. But I don't want to do the whole paper, just because, we want to save you time. I can say hi to you guys while it's cutting. I see some of you coming in and joining me live, so that's awesome. Awesome sauce. Now to cut this tree, I've already cut the trees out of this paper, but you would cut the tree the same way, but you don't have to enclose the tree. In this particular case, you don't have to enclose the tree. Well, there's a tree there. We could probably just cut that tree. You don't have to do anything to this tree, except not ignore it. And you'll see what I mean by not ignoring it. All right, so we're ready to go. Now you're going to peel your plastic piece off your mat. I guess we'll call it a dust cover. And you're gonna put the paper in the top half of your mat, because we'll just scan in the top. If you have an STX, you can scan in the top half of your mat, which is a 6x6 or 12x6. This is 12 across by 6 area, and it saves you time by not having to scan the whole mat. This is everything I'm showing you will work with the CM350 as well, CM models. It's just that you'll have to scan the whole mat. It just takes you a little bit longer. No big deal. Let's put this paper over here, and let's get to work on loading the mat. So when I load the mat, I make sure that I just kind of hold my hands there as I press that load button. I'll show you what the load button looks like in a minute, because I always assume that you're beginners, that you're total beginners, and that you never cut pattern paper. And I know most of you are not beginners, but I have to assume that so that everybody can follow along with my tutorial. So I hold my fingers there. Now don't hold them under the rollers, because you could get caught up under there. So hold them somewhere, give it a little push when you load your mat. And it's going to say, oh, it's just saying the carriage is going to move away from the mat. There you go. So it just loaded, see? It loaded nicely, but I did kind of like to put my fingers there. And now this is what you're going to see. And just so you didn't miss anything, that was the load mat button. Okay, so I started out by just putting the paper on the mat, and that's the load mat button. It doesn't matter whether you have just drawn a polar bear yourself on a piece of paper, like you sketched something, or it doesn't matter if I had pattern paper like I just showed you and you outlined it in pencil. The process is the same. You're going to scan it and you're going to cut it out. So when you turn on your machine, you're going to see pattern and scan. This has to do with the built-in patterns. We're going to select scan because we're going to be scanning the paper. We're going to select direct cut because we want to directly cut out the polar bears, fox, let's see, penguins, trees, right? We're going to click direct cut. We're directly cutting them out. We're not saving any information. Okay, now this is asking where you want to save the data temporarily. It doesn't matter what you pick here, but I always pick temporarily stored on my machine. You might not even have this option if you're not wirelessly connected. And this is where you get into the 12x6 recognition mode. Okay, now, like I said, there's no reason to bother with the color recognition mode. Even on the toughest paper, that never really helped me at all. It just helped me. The black and white recognition mode was fine for any kind of paper as long as I helped it out by using those pencil marks. This is what I'm saying about the 12x6 area. You're only going to scan in the top half of the mat, 12x6 area, and then you're going to click Start. It's going to now scan in and recognize the ones in pencil. It's not going to recognize the ones that we haven't used the pencil trick on, because that's the whole point of a tip and trick, right? If you didn't do the little trick, it's going to be a big old blob. So let's go click OK. So the first thing you want to do is you want to select. Well, first I can talk about this. See how this polar bear that we outlined is selected because it's perfect, right? Because we drew a pencil mark around it, right? It's perfect. See how the other ones are not? A big hot mess, a big hot mess, big hot mess. So first thing I want to do to get rid of the things I don't want to cut out right now is I'm going to go in and select this area. Okay, I'm going to select this area. Next thing I want to do is this is making a selection on the things I don't want. Okay, now I want to just show you my paper that I created earlier so you can talk about some settings, and then maybe we'll revisit this again. But this is what I want to tell you about. I like to leave the settings at their default, but I wanted to just tell you what these settings mean. Okay, so this means that I'm going to leave it at the default setting for smoothing. And it's going to make some rigid lines, and it's going to do a nice job sort of outlining a little tuft of hair, sort of get in there and do well-defined scarf, a little bit better definitions, right? It's not smooth, it's a little rough. And that's what this setting is here. If you've never tried this setting, it's a smoothing setting. So if you click on this, I like it default, the smoothing is low. It means it goes around the edges. Now, I don't want it too low. Don't go on the very bottom low. Just the default, smoothing low. This one here is me moving it up a notch. So when I went up to here with this arrow, this one here with the little tuft of hair being outlined is when I change the smoothing one notch up. But you don't need to change it one notch up if you don't really care for that look. I like the little tufts of hair, so I'm going to go back to the other. Same for this. This is the fox without the smoothing, right? See how it's rigid ears? I like that. I like pointy ears because it's a fox, right? I like a pointy tail, except the tail's kind of like blunt, but still, I like pointy ears as opposed to smooth ears. Okay, so again, I want to go back to that. Just go back to smoothing's low. And I'm just going to continue to show you. It really doesn't make much difference on the tree. It does make a little difference on the penguin. See how the pointy little wings, smooth wings. Okay? Smooth wings, pointy wings. So that's what smoothing does. Now let's click OK. Or no, we don't click OK yet. So next we want to ignore object size. We want to get rid of the things that we don't want to cut out. I don't think it's even going to cut out that tree right now. You get rid of all the things like that you don't want to cut out. And as you go bigger, you can see, we'll just get rid of things that are like an inch. You can see all these extra bits disappearing, right? A little over an inch. And then next thing you want to do is click OK. And you want to add an outline distance to your critters, right? So I like this outline distance, right? This is how I like to put a white outline around it, just like when you die cutting things. But if you don't want that outline distance, you're going to get this kind of look. And you might still have to get in and trim this little white piece out of the penguin. Even though I have really good alignment right now, when I said no outline distance, it still put a little white piece there. It's just fine. And I probably wouldn't even trim it. I think it's fine the way it is. But what I'm saying is, that's a tree without an outline distance. I personally like the outline distance. You can let me know what you think. I liked it better. So I'm going to click here, and I'm going to click outline distance 0.04. So now we're going to click OK. And now we still need to get rid of the other things that we don't want to cut. Here's a scarf of this. Like because I didn't outline this guy, right? It's a scarf is just randomly there. So you're going to click on edit and you're going to click on the scarf and you're going to get rid of it. If you don't get rid of it, you're going to waste this whole polar bear that you could have cut later. Also, there's a blob up there. I don't know what that blob is, but we're going to get rid of that. But the 2 fox and the 2 penguins that I did an outline for, they're going to cut out fine because I don't need to get rid of them. And then if you want to check, this is how you toggle between everything selected. And it should only select 5 things. But this helps you know if there's other things randomly selected on the screen. Okay, at this point, all you're left to do is cut. So you're going to click cut, and you're ready to go. And then I'll tell you more tips and tricks in a minute. After we get it out of the machine, we have to get rid of the eraser marks. So then that's another little tip and trick that I kind of figured out the hard way because I started ripping my paper, and I'm going to show you how to keep from ripping your paper. So let's say hello to you guys. Hello, Caroline. And Deb K, Betty Z. Hello, BBK from Denmark. Awesome. I love when you guys watch from other countries and you put your little flags there. Way to go. Be proud of your country. Okay, cool. And hi from Orlando, Florida, Miss Puff, Creative Corner. Oh, I love Miss Puff. Tracy Lang from Mississippi. And yes, I did send your prize, Tracy, to Mississippi. I finally got your address right. So your prize is on the way. And Katie, hello. I'm glad you're excited to master this, Katie. Miss Puff, thank you. Yvonne, thank you. Hello, Yvonne. Can't wait to get this paper. And hello, Joanne. All right. So here's what we have to do. Now, if you try to, here's what happened to me earlier. I lifted up the paper. I put it on my table. And I proceeded to just erase it, and I ripped some of the heads off of my critters. I ripped some of the heads off my critters. So what I found was easy to do, and you don't have to do it here. You could find an old Cricut mat, like an old sticky, like I have like a case of Cricut mats, because one time I bought them by a case. I don't know what I was thinking. But if you don't want to use your mat, this is the only mat I have for this machine, by the way, and I don't mind doing this. You don't want to get eraser marks all over the place, but if you want to use your mat, it's so much easier to erase while you keep it on your sticky mat. So I'm just going to go ahead and erase. And look at that beautiful, it doesn't show up at all. But you got to make sure that you don't get the stuff all over your mat, these eraser marks. But I'm telling you, when I didn't do this, when I put it on the table, without keeping it on the sticky part, I ended up with, let's get some tape. I'm just going to use painter's tape, by the way, to get rid of these eraser pieces. Okay, another tip and trick. I have lots of tips and tricks. See what I mean? Get rid of the eraser marks before you get this guy off the mat. Because you want these eraser things. Because if you don't, they're going to stick all over your mat and it's going to make your mat dirty. And then you're going to be like, my mat's dirty. I don't know what to do. And I'm going to say, wash it in the sink. And you're going to say, seriously, in the sink? Yes, wash it in the sink. Dawn dishwashing liquid, some warm water. If you still have some sticky on it, it'll be good as new. If you have no sticky on it, then re-tack your mat with some two-way glue, right? Now this was easier to do earlier when I didn't have those pieces I cut off, but by cutting off those pieces, it's no big deal. It's just that I had to cut off those pieces because it would have tried to scan them all in, and then I would have to delete them all. Oh, he's beautiful, my beautiful polar bear. We don't need to erase them all, but we'll just erase. I'm going to erase this one and the next, and one of each of the other two. Then I'm going to pull them off the mat. Actually, we can erase them all because there's hardly any marks on these. I forgot about these. These were easy eraser marks. So my whole camera's shaking, I know, because I'm shaking the table. But what you want to do is, see, just double check. Now, I do have an electronic eraser. It was a gift from my crafty friends, one of my crafty friends, but I don't have it with me. An electric eraser keeps your paper from ripping. So it's a nice electric eraser. I just don't have it. So I'm using, this because it keeps the paper from staining. Like when you use a white eraser, if you use a red eraser, your paper stains all over the place. All right, good. These are practically good as new. Last is I'm going to get this eraser marks off, and then I'm going to show you how cool these are and how to remove them from the mat. And then we'll talk about tips and tricks for the other pieces of paper. See what I got here. And let's see. And if you still have eraser marks on them, it's no big deal. Okay, good. That one came off. Boy, that was easy. There's another tip. Just use tape to get these off of your mat. Sometimes that happens. See? Tape just gets them off your mat. But the real way you're supposed to get them off your mat, let's put these up there for a second. Not the real way, because there's no right or wrong way. As I'm always saying in crafting, there's no right or wrong way. But what the recommended way, I guess, would be is you peel off your paper and, again, save all these scraps. These are great. Well, actually, I'm going to cut out this guy later. I want to cut out the rest of my paper to smithereens until I get my bucket of crafty goodness really full. But I was trying to save it for you guys because this is my last pack of paper for a while. For a while, until August. We're not allowed to order anymore. Well, we can actually earn this for free as demonstrators when we spend $50. But I'm not ordering anymore until this something from back order comes in. And whenever that comes in, then I'm going to make another order. Never say never. I'm probably going to order. But anyway, that's how you're supposed to get it off. You're supposed to peel the paper off, and then you're left with this, and then you can take your little spatula. See if my little spatula's in there. You can take your spatula and get it off, or you can bend the mat. Now, let's just get this mat unloaded for a second. So I just unloaded the mat to get it out of the way. And I want to put these where you can see them, so you can see how cool this is, that we just cut these out, and how much time we saved, right? How much time we saved by not having to fuzzy cut them. Fussy cut. And that was the default smoothing, not the extra smoothing, just the default, which says low smoothing. You get the little pointed wings, and that's fine. Okay, so cool. Let me grab some other papers. I'm not sure if I'm going to do more papers. I mean, I have so many projects to show you, but I just want to see if there's anything I wanted to talk about these papers. I think I wanted to talk about ignoring object size and stuff. Okay, so yeah. For this one, you had to literally trace around. So for this kind of paper, the tip and trick is, and I'll just show you once because it's just visually it's better to see something. You have to trace down here with this penguin, all the way up the little belly and its head. If you don't, you won't get the penguin. Okay, if you do this, you're just going to get a penguin with a hand sticking on it, a penguin with a mitten and a stick. That's all you're going to get is a penguin with a mitten and a stick. So if you want this all to be one, you're going to need to trace all up and around here. Not the stick, not the mitten, because the mitten and the stick is, right? The mitten and the stick's already outlined. It's already dark. So just the rest of it. Oops. I can't even see. See, I'm talking about no contrast. I can't even see the difference where the bottom of the snowman is. Okay, so I just want to show you that. So let's go around. Okay, so like that. Okay? And that's what's going to cut out all the way around. Not the scarf, but all the way around this guy. Now, for this little guy, this little rabbit, you have to make sure that you don't ignore object sizes too small, because if you do, the little rabbit won't cut out. So you want to make sure you don't ignore object sizes too small. but that cuts out just fine if you outline the little rabbit. And this little bird cuts out just fine by doing nothing. You didn't have to do anything to the bird. The fox, all you got to do to the fox here is this. And his little cheeks, that's it. Just don't do more pencil marks than you have to. Maybe a little bit on his shoulder, like that. A little bit on his shoulder. Okay? So that's all you got to do to the fox. Outline the whole rabbit, outline the rest of this guy, and this penguin. Okay, so that's all for this paper. Let me grab my bucket of crafty goodness for a second and show you. And by the way, if you guys want to see this is Dollar Tree. So just get this from the Dollar Tree, and you can fit all your stuff in here. Okay, so this is what you get when you, see, I erased all the pencil marks, no problem there. So that's that piece of paper. Just outline it, and it'll even go up in there and get that whole part, and it's just super cute. Okay, and let me see how small it went. See how small, I gotta see if there's a bunny in there. I don't know, I don't think I have any more bunnies, but there's a bunny on one of my projects. Okay, let's talk about another piece of paper, because I don't want to make you do the same thing over and over. What I just taught you is applicable to every piece of paper, and I'm always saying that, but you're like, but what about the flower? What about the leaf? What about this? What about that? It's all the same process. Everything I teach you is the same process. But what I'd like to show you is, how to make different projects with what you cut out. Okay, for this one, very easy to cut out everything. You're going to just do the fox's tail. So for this one, I think I cut out everything from this piece of paper. You're going to do the fox's tail. And I think his head, because I got to go look at what the head looked like. Okay, and then here it is. See the fox's head, just this little part. Oh, his belly, you got to do his belly, that little white part, and the little part of his face right there. Okay, and that's what you're going to get. So you get the foxes, and for this one, you have to outline the entire thing. So for the polar bear, everything but the scarf. Just outline everything to get the polar bear to cut out. And the penguin, just again on its little belly, on its little bottom. Okay, for this one. Okay, for this one's pretty, okay, and let me show you. Oh, by the way, that last piece of paper, you ended up with a bunch of little foxes, right? Making sure you outline the belly, the little mouth, and the little tail. Okay, a bunch of little foxes. Now for this one, the bird will cut out as long as you don't ignore small objects. Let's see, you want to outline, for this one, you want to go like this with the pencil. Okay. Now, I know I'm going to get asked this. Okay, let's see. Okay, see how that one goes? So that's what you do to that one. You're going to outline everything but the scarf and the mittens and the thing. And then for this little penguin, you're going to go like this. Before you scan it in and cut it. Just that bottom part. For this little fox, you're going to go like this with its belly. And like that a little bit. And just a little bit of the mouth. See, and a little bit of the tail. And that's it. Even though there's tiny gaps in the scarf, they tend to be recognized. But if your machine is so sensitive where it's recognizing those tiny gaps, then just go ahead and put an outline around the gaps of the scarf. If you're having trouble, oh, you do have to do that little part there. See, I forgot that almost. There was a little gap right there. So you're filling in those gaps. So that's all. 1, 2, 3. What else? The bird's fine. Okay, so basically just keep, rinse and repeat. Do the same thing for every piece of paper, what I just taught you. Keep using the pencil trick. Keep doing the outline distance. Okay, let's see about this one. Okay, this one, I should have a piece that I haven't cut it. Let's see if I have a piece I already started cutting into. Yeah, this one I didn't cut into yet. I didn't outline this bear yet, probably. So that's the only bear I haven't cut out yet. But probably because I just didn't outline. But I did cut out a lot of these little foxes. The little fox will be good for autumn or Christmas. That's what Yvonne's saying. Absolutely. But not with, maybe even not with the scarf, but there's a bunch of fox without the scarf. So for this one, you want to go like that, like that. Okay, he's fine. And then you'd have to outline the whole. Oh, I did the penguin on this page. So let me see what I did for that page. There was a penguin. Oh, I made lots of tags with the penguin from that page. Okay, now for this one, you just have to outline the whole thing. But this little penguin that I cut out a lot of, here, just go like this. And you'll get a cute little penguin. And let me see if I find a penguin in my bucket of crafty goodness, and if not, they're in my tags. I don't see one there of that kind. Okay, so that's how you do that paper. And let's see what else we have. For this piece of paper, oh yeah, this was tricky. This was very tricky. I lost a lot of bellies. This is what happened for this one. I lost a lot of bellies. I'm going to show you what I mean by losing bellies. Because look at this. See how I lost the bellies? Because I missed that one part. Okay? I'm all about tips and tricks. I got to show you not to lose the bellies. Oops. See? I saved the bellies, by the way. They're in my bucket of crafty goodness. I saved the bellies. So what you want to do is just to make sure that doesn't happen on your little sled. See all these bellies I'm missing? Oops, oops, oops. I don't know how I did it so many times until I finally learned. Oh, what did I do? Accidentally forgot to put the line right there. So that's what happens when you forget to put the line. So for that one, so I got 3 without their bellies and 3 with their bellies. And I saved the belly so I could put the belly in there and puff it up, put some Wink of Stella on there and make it look like I did it on purpose. All right, or else just put a sentiment over the top of it. So what you need to do for this guy is make sure, now this is the thing I'm doing first from now on. You need to go like this. First and foremost, don't lose the belly. If you want just this penguin on a sled, then just don't do anything to the polar bear, and you won't have the polar bear cut out at all because it's white on a soft seafoam background and it won't even be recognized. But if you want to get the whole thing pulling, if you want the penguin or the polar bear pulling the sleigh, then you need to outline the whole polar bear. And don't forget there's little fingers there, or little paws with little things. So you want to kind of go smooth. Take your time. All right, I'm going to get asked about the acetate. I want to talk about acetate, and I will get asked about, like, what about doing this over and over, yada, 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 all that kind of stuff. Okay, so I need to address that. I messed up a little piece. Okay. I have taught when there's been really, really tough things to cut out, like the mosaic mood. There was this mosaic mood paper a couple years ago, and it had birds on it. They were really hard to cut out. Oh, by the way, make sure you connect his hat. If you want the hat to be part of this image, if not, the hat will cut out separately. If you want the hat to cut out as part of the image, put 2 little lines there so that it goes around the hat and around the whole sleigh and around this. Okay, same outline this guy. I'll finish about the acetate in a minute. Let's finish this thought here. This little guy came out beautifully. See, the little guy when you use the outline with the pencil, he came out cute. The little fox with the scarf came out adorably. I put these all over things. See, he came out cute. Okay, so this is a great piece of paper. Everything cut out. You just got to work. You just got to do a lot of pencil marks. So I'll be cutting that out some more. All right, so say you had, and let me see if there's any more paper that I haven't talked about. I don't know. These are scraps. I think we did that one. Let's see, I talked about this piece. I want to make sure that I'm not forgetting it. Okay, so say you have a piece of acetate. You say you don't want to erase. Okay, let me just get back to that. Say you don't want to erase. You want to do. Instead of pencil marks, you're like, well, I'll just use acetate, right? And that's fine. You can use acetate. It's like we have these window sheets, but I would probably use like some acetate, like some clear acetate. Like I have a bunch of old sheet protectors from not sheet protectors, what are they called? Transparency film from like the old teaching days, transparency film. So anyway, so say you wanted to just you could put a piece of acetate over this and trace with a black thin Sharpie marker over the acetate, right? And then you can lay some white paper under it and scan the acetate in. And that's how you can cut the shape out. Or not the shape, you can cut this whole thing out without having to erase it later. The problem with that is, and then you could do the same paper, you could put the paper in over and over again. The problem with that is that the next time you load the paper in the same spot, like say you had 2 pieces of the same piece of paper and you put the acetate over it, then you try to load the paper in the same spot, then this underneath the pattern might not be exactly lined up with the acetate, and then you're going to cut it and it's not going to be exactly even. So I found out that the pencil marks and cutting directly onto the paper is the most accurate way. That's my opinion. But I use acetate when I have no other choice. When I really have no other choice, like meaning there's no other way to cut out the critters. So I have to use acetate, so there's no other way. And that's fine, and it does work, but it's just a pain, and you can, but if you want to do shapes, so say you just wanted to, say you were like stamping images, then acetate works good because you can like cut out one stamped image, right? Like say this was your stamped image, your penguin or something, and then you cut out around it, and then you made a bunch of shapes and you cut them out over and over and over again, and then you stamped it with your Stamparatus. That would be a good use of acetate. Anyway, there's many tips and tricks, but we'll do acetate in another video. All right, let's get into the projects themselves. I have 13 little projects. And yeah, so Yvonne's saying with no scarf, you can use the fox, is what she's saying. That you can use the fox for fall. And Joanne is saying she loves this paper. Hello, Joanne. And Carol, oh, I'm glad she took my class. Thank you, Carol, for taking my class. I teach on Udemy, many classes. So go to my website, thepaperchef.com, and you'll find links to my Udemy courses. And sometimes I put coupons there at least once or twice a month. So sign up for the newsletter. Hello, Susan. Following along, Tony from Texas. Tony from Texas. Elaine from North Carolina. Nikki from New Jersey. I'm going to open up this little box while I'm looking at. Nikki's also using her flags. So way to go. I love when you guys use your flags. She's not using the New Jersey flag. She's using the U.S. flag. Hey, Kathleen. And Just Paper and Bling also from New Jersey. So what I'm showing you now is like a note card set. Hello, Anne from PA. And you're getting some of this coming in your paper share. Anne's one of the people that ordered a paper share. And this is one, you're going to get one of my samples. And you're going to get some of this cool paper. You can start playing with it. I did cut it down to 6x6 though. And hello, Cher from PA. And Terry P. Okay, so these are little note cards. So what I did for these is I just took your like basic white paper, not the thick basic white paper, just basic white regular paper, kind of thin paper. And I just made, and then I added little layers of, well, first let me start with the box. The box is 3 1/8 inch acetate box. Okay, so that's what the box is. Because that's 3 1/8 inch, we'll go from there. Okay, so this is where, so here's the boxes. You can get these now. These are in our annual catalog. They've been around for a couple years. 3 1/8 inch acetate card box. So now that you know that they're 3 1/8 inch, the acetate card box, they come in a bag of however many, 10 in a box. See, they come flat. But then you can make yourself a little set of note cards to put in them. Because this is 3 1/8 inch, my little note cards are 3 inches. See? See that? 3 inches. Now I should have checked because my envelopes are 3 inches. And I should have checked that they fit in my envelopes. And I didn't. So now I probably, oh, good, they fit in there. Good, because I didn't check. So that's good to know. So here we go. And shout out to Donita. Donita won the ScanNCut challenge, and she got this stamp set. This is her prize, actually. She let me borrow it before I can get myself another one. So Donita, this is your prize coming. And I just borrowed your little thing a lot. Be cool, be chill, be merry. I borrowed this stamp a lot. So this Penguin Place stamp set that you're going to see the sentiments on a lot in these samples I'm showing you is part of the holiday catalog. I made sure I taped it shut too because I don't want to accidentally, right? I don't want to accidentally open this. And it's on page 33. Hold on, let me make sure. Yes, 33 is where the penguin is. So if you have this, you got these in the mail from me. I sent out a lot of these from Stampin' Up. Then you get, okay, that's where. And then this little stamp here is also in the, I'm allowed to show you the actual products, just not the catalog. Even though this is in the catalog. Go figure. It's just one of our rules, and I'm going to follow them. I want to keep being a demonstrator. Okay, so sweet little stockings. Very merry. That's where I got it from. Very merry. That's where I got it from the envelope. All right, so you can see that you could put up to 4. You could put these in the envelopes or not in the envelopes, and you can put 4 of these in this cute little box. So I made 4 of these. I used Winkostella. Okay, see how I used Winkostella? And see how they're just slightly different? So you can take your be cool, be chill, be merry, put that up there or put it down there. This is all Penguin Place paper. Do you see? Okay, let me also explain. Do you see why I'm using these embellishments as opposed to just like going to the store and getting some Christmas stickers, which I absolutely love Christmas stickers, and I put them all over everything as well. But you see how you can take your embellishments from your box of crafty goodness that you cut out of the paper, and you see how it coordinates with everything. It coordinates with not just the stamps and the sentiments and the stamp sets and all that, but it coordinates with the paper. The embellishments coordinate with the paper behind it. And you're going to see how the cardstock also coordinates. So anyway, so use Wink of Stella. So these two are the same except where I put the sentiment. These two are the same except for where I put the sentiment. And then you can put them all together, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and give it as a gift in this little box. Now the box is a little fox, a fox on the box. I probably wouldn't give it a whole thing as a gift. I'd probably put 2 in each box because maybe I put some candy in the box too. But you can put all 4. I just want to show you that you can put all 4 in there, even though I'd probably give a set of 3 or 2 and then some other little candies. Isn't that cute? So these little snowflakes are part of my deluxe paper share. I'm adding some snowflakes to that share. Look, erasers everywhere, eraser marks. And voila. And the snowflake is 3D because I just added the little dimensional to it. This is the way the snowflakes come. They're iridescent. If you get these snowflakes, those of you that are demonstrators are already allowed to pre-order. If my team or any of you got these snowflakes, do not get rid of this stuff here. I'm about to cut these out with something. I don't know what, but maybe other snowflake dies I got in another set. Look at this cool iridescent paper. So don't get rid of that insides. But this is what you might not have noticed if you got these snowflakes. Check this out. You can take a dimensional. Check this out. I'm going to turn this over and check. It just fits perfectly like this. A hexagon dimensional and hide it behind there. Boom, you have a 3D snowflake. And you don't have to deal with the silly gluing and all that business. Even though this is really good glue and you got a fine tip glue. Oh boy, my glue has seen better days. There's a nice fine tip on here. Who wants to glue a snowflake? I sure don't. So that fits right on there. So that's that first project. And it's puffed up a little with the dimensional. See? It's puffed up. And then you got the little fox on there. So that's a gift. But it'll be 2 gifts. Okay? That was project 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 because that's 5 little things in one. Now I want to show you some little tags I made. Okay, these are tags that I made with, oh boy, I forgot the name of it, but it's in the annual catalog so I can actually show you because this is not a secret. Our annual catalog is available right now and we're having the sale on some things in it, but I can show you this because these tags, see, this catalog's been out since May. So once our catalog's released, I'm allowed to open it and show you on camera. And it's something about tags. Okay, I'll show you the whirly dies later. It's something, it has to do with tags. It's this new little set we have, and it's super cute. And I got it way back during the pre-order, and I've been making tags like crazy because I love stitching. Now, I know that the ScanNCut does do stitching, but it just doesn't do a good job of stitching, not as much as metal dies does. This is called tailor-made tags. Tailor-made tags on page 166. You don't need a catalog to order from me because everything's online. But who doesn't like a paper catalog, right? But these are tailor-made tags, and they just have nice stitching on them. And I added some bling to them and all this kind of stuff. So these are those 3 projects. I forget what the bling is, but it wasn't actually fresh freesia. The bling, I might have the package. I have the package, but I can't find. These are like little pearls. They didn't say fresh freesia on them, but I think they match. To me, they match perfectly, these little pearls. So I added some bling, because I could. And this is what you do with your little ScanNCut little critters. And this little gingham ribbon is part of the holiday catalog. It's in the cute Halloween suite. This gingham black and white ribbon. All right, so that was project 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, project 9, 10, 11, 12. I told you I had, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yep, I have 13 projects. Okay, so project number 9 is this little project. And this is using the dies that are in the annual catalog. These dies are pretty cool because they cut out little circles for you all at once. And then you're left with like the reverse of those. You reverse the reverse of the circles. Okay, they're right here. They're called Picture This dies. And so you get a little frame and you get all these extra little stitch circles and you can do stuff with them. In this case, I just left a few of them empty and I left a few of them filled back in with designer series paper. See, this is Balmy Blue, one of the coordinating colors. So I put the little penguin with the little stitch circle right back in there. I put this little piece of paper right back in and then added a little fox with some dimensionals and another little fox, a couple little trees, a little hat. Okay. Oops, some of my neighbors just came over, so I have to go. All right, go soon. Okay, now here. These are my favorite projects of all that I want to show you. So that was 9. So this is These are 4 cards, all the same. These are 4 cards made with the same set of dies. And these dies are going to blow you away. They're probably the most overlooked item in the annual catalog. They're called Give It a Whirl dies. They're not part of any bundle. Most dies come with bundles, and you save 10% when you get dies and stamp sets. This doesn't come as a bundle with anything. Totally awesome dies. There's like a ton of them, 21 dies in there. Another video, another time, I'll have to show you how to use them. But it does say, I'm going to show you where I kind of first discovered on page 57. I was like, when I was blown away when I was doing a catalog walkthrough and everything, and I was like, see, this is, because they're called Give It a Whirl. So this little whirly thing, it's a big circle, and you stamp onto it. 1, 2, 3 things, right? Anything you want, sentiments, stamp whatever you want on it. And then when you twist it with this little whirly thing with your finger, then you get to see in the window whatever you stamped on it. So it's so fun. It's such a fun die. And we sell little brads to use with the die. So here's what you do with your, so this is combining the best of all worlds. You got your ScanNCut, cool little critters that I popped up with 3D. And the reason I popped them up in these particular locations, and I could have actually put a bunny there too, but I ran out of bunnies, is because I used Wink Stella. The reason I popped them up there is because that's above the spot they are on the paper. They do that a lot when I was in Germany. They pop up things on top of what's under it, like the same thing. So that's the, okay, so now you're ready. So I hope you understand how I got that concept. There's a little brad there holding this together. And then check this out. Be cool, be chill, be merry. And I put the little piece that came out from like, this little piece of paper was designer series paper. I stamped onto it. Very merry. And you know where I got that from? That was from the stockings. Sweet little stockings, very merry. Peace, joy, and kisses. From the very merry. Or no, from the sweet little stockings, not the very merry. Okay, and then it'll go back to the beginning. It'll go back to like that. So that's this card, and I used designer series paper, lots of dimensionals and foam strips. This little die called Give It a Whirl dies, Calypso coral background, because you have to put something behind it. Well, you don't have to, but you do if you don't want it to be awkward on the card, because the card is like wider, the way the shape is. I guess because it was probably trying to go with Europe sizes. But anyway, I'm not sure why, but I had to put a piece there to make it sort of even border, and then I used Misty Moonlight. Okay, next. Okay, that was number 10. Here's number 11. Again, ScanNCut, some bling, right? There's my bunny, cut out with the ScanNCut. Everything's cut out with the ScanNCut. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But then this is Give It a Whirl dies. So I'm using the best of both worlds, or best of all worlds. There's the Be Chill. I used a snowflake from another set that I just got. And to get the Be Chill, when it was part of this other stamp, I had to mask it off with tape. So you see how it says be cool, be chill, be merry? I masked it off, so like with some tape, so that you'd only get the Be Chill there. Then you pull the tape off before you stamp. Okay, so Be Chill, and then peace, joy, and kisses. And I was thinking I could have also put little hearts around there, or little snowflakes, but I just didn't do the little snowflakes because it took me so long to line this all up. But anyway, there's your little brad. So it lines back up, and there's the little, it starts like that with this kind of paper, kind of matching. Okay? So that was 10. No, 11. That was number 11. And then here's number 12, project number 12. So for this project, again, the only thing I needed the ScanNCut for this project was, for this card, was it's Give It a Whirl dies again, and then I puffed up this penguin, and I used fresh freesia. Oh, did I tell you what I used on the last one? This one was fresh freesia and Misty Moonlight in the background, Misty Moonlight. Okay, that's my last card. This one was just fresh freesia and Calypso coral in the background. So for this one, I just put the little circle of the same little circle that came out of this snowman. I put his head in there. Okay. Be cool. Be merry. Be chill. Right? So in this case, I cut the stamp. So I stamped it onto a piece of paper with Memento Black, and I just chopped it up and glued it on. I had to glue it on. I didn't want to use dimensionals. The reason I glued it straight on instead of dimensionals is I didn't want it to get caught, right, in this window. So I didn't want it to get caught. If I would have puffed it up with dimensionals, it would have got caught on the edge. And I think I have to do another tutorial on this dies before you understand what I mean. Now, they do make little arrows in the dies that you can point up or down, but I don't think you need arrows to tell you that you need to turn this card. And last card, I try to save my favorite thing for last. So for what I did for this card is I took, oh, by the way, when you use the Give It a Whirl dies, there's several kinds of windows you can use. You can use a circular window. You can use this sort of shape here, and whether you put it up or down, it doesn't matter. You just got to turn the whole card around. I mean, it doesn't matter where you put, like you might have a card that goes like this, but the window could be on top. So you could use that kind of window, a circular window, a heart window, and then there's like a rectangular window. So for this one, I used a heart window. And again, Wink Stella on everything. So for the heart window, I have the polar bear, and I lined him up and this was one of the polar bears when I told you I was erasing it and its head got cut off. So I had to use just the body. I didn't want to waste the body. And then I had a heart that I cut out of another piece, and I lined them up, and I puffed up the polar bear, and I puffed up all these guys. I puffed up all these things with dimensionals, the fox, okay, the penguin, and check this out. So he's there, and then you could turn it because you're like, oh, should I turn it? Yes, you should turn it because you see the little circle there, and you can go, can go either way, but I'll just turn it this way. And again, I'm just using the same sentiments. I just found what fits. I have so many more things that could fit there, but I was just trying to use like things that fit with the Misty Moonlight color there. And then you go back to the little heart. So I think, I was cracking up when I was making these. I just think these would make people so happy to get a card like that, and especially kids, and they won't stop spinning them when they get them because they're going to just be fun. All this made possible with the ScanNCut because although these cards would be cute, anything is cute, right? It's all cute. Just if you don't have a ScanNCut and you're watching this, just go ahead and make these with just paper, but just don't cover up the stitching on your tags, right? Because you don't want to cover up the stitching on those kind of tags. Or if you don't even have stitching, just use a punch that has maybe you have the fancy tag tupper punch or something. Maybe you don't have stitching, but you have designer series paper. Back it up with some cardstock. This is just basic white cardstock, right? Back it up, put some cute little sentiments and cut them out with scissors if you don't have dies. You could do everything without the ScanNCut, but I think the ScanNCut takes your crafts to a whole new level, in my opinion, that it just makes people go, oh, how'd they do that? How'd they cut so evenly? Or how did they do that? Right? And that's kind of what you want people to, when they get your crafts, to feel good. By cutting out the paper from the Penguin Playmates, I had to think of the name as I summarized. I want to just make sure I said hi to everybody too. I spent a long time showing you my projects today. Oh, I have somebody watching from the dentist. How cool is that? You guys are really dedicated. So, okay, she loves this project for gifts. That's what Deborah said. Yes, Deborah, this makes a great gift. And you could even probably add, look, I think you could probably fit 5 or 6 in there. Or it depends on how many layers you put on your cards, right? Note cards. So it is a good project for gifts. Thank you. Terry's saying adorable note cards. And Rose is saying, watching from the dentist office. Teresa, hello, Teresa. Just paper and bling, hello, loves it. Cynthia, hello from Missouri. Shay, hello. Kaz from Australia. And the whale paper, Diane. Yes, Diane, we'll put that in with your, Diane, Diane's one of my paper chefs. One of your future things that you get, I'll put the whale paper in. It's just not around here. But anyway, what I wanted to show you is like, so matter, when you cut out this paper, like this Penguin Playmates Designer Series paper, you automatically have embellishments that you can use over and over. If you want, and I didn't do it on this video because I've done it in many other videos, just watch some of my videos on cutting out and layering pattern paper. So if you want, you can take, instead of having this be at the back of it, you would make an other outline distance, 0.08, and you would back this up, and you would have another whole layer behind your penguin, and then, with the cardstock that coordinates. And you would automatically have like really cute layered embellishments. So check that out. You automatically have, when you cut out this paper, embellishments that go perfectly with the Stampin' Up! Designer, or Stampin' Up! Cardstock, like the Just Jade. You could see how you could just put this on a piece of Just Jade and you're good to go. Put it on a piece of Fresh Freesia, you're good to go. Calypso Coral, Misty Moonlight, here's some Misty Moonlight. So, I mean, it's so cute. You can just do so much with these. Oops, he goes down there. The little foxes, the little trees. I mean, you can just go on and on. Super, super fun. So definitely don't get rid of the pieces that you mess up, because even if you forget the polar bear and the sleigh just comes out, then save the sleigh. He doesn't need to have a polar bear pulling him. I mean, everything's cute. This could be good for a baby card, right? Welcome little baby, because it looks like a baby fox, sleeping. Or you could have like a big fox and a baby fox. I mean, these are just all fun things to have for your projects. So think of other ways to use all these cutouts that you get. So this paper is free for demonstrators right now. Demonstrators are allowed to earn this paper for free. It's totally a reason to join Stampin' Up, I think. But you can. But we have other specials coming up in August too. But you know, I'll talk about those later. So many things you can earn for free, including like sheep, counting sheep, other paper. What's this one? This one's a free host one that you have. This one's a free for $50. This one's not a $50 one. That's a host one. But anyway, lots of stuff going on during celebration. Bedazzle paper, or I think it's bedazzle paper. Whew, that's all for now. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and tips and tricks on how to cut out pattern paper. I hope you apply it to whatever pattern paper you have. That's all for now. This is the Paper Chef. Thank you for watching today. Have a great day.